Hey, the button works, but the wrong thing is up because I wasn't in this one beforehand.
That's not me.
I'll fix it. Well, now you're over at Sean, so there's no winning.
Well, boom.
What do I
Look
need
at
to
that.
do in here to get?
Is it not visible?
It's just the
Yeah.
screensaver.
Well,
There it is.
All right.
There we go. Things are working now.
We'll fix
Sort
it
of.
live. It's fine.
Hello.
Hi, it's Gray Areas from May 6, 2025, episode 672. Maisie says, oh shit, Dave is here. I think that's in a complimentary way. It could be in a don't wake daddy way. I don't know.
No, she's terrified of me.
She's right to be.
That's
You've
true.
killed
I do
before.
hate her with the... I have killed before and for less, really. So, you don't know what's going to happen, Maisie. Keep your eyes open. And knowing that you go to sleep at about 6:45 every night, that's going to be really tough for you. So
Right. We don't even know how she's
Good
talking
luck.
right now. She should already be asleep.
I know. It's kind of crazy. She's really staying up late because she's so terrified of me.
We had to do a last-minute pivot. We mentioned last week we would talk about video game news, and then this morning the trailer for GTA 6 dropped, and I know Cody has a lot of thoughts. I have some thoughts. I imagine Dave has some thoughts, or if he has watched the trailer. But that and Expedition 33 and Fallout, Oblivion and everything else, we're just going to have to wait one more week because Cody got sick. And then on top of being sick, he had to go cover a softball game that got rained out anyways, so he's not feeling good and is sad, and now Dave is on top of the chat thing. We can fix all these things. We're not even going to be on this overlay for very long. Anyways, video game stuff will probably be next week now, and, Grand Theft Auto's not coming out till next May, so we're not in a huge rush.
I'm glad that they're doing it right, but people were pretty pissed off, I think.
I like
Save
the
it
trailer.
for the show.
Hit and miss.
That's right.
Which is funny to say when we're on the show.
That is actually pretty funny. That's a new layer of the... I was going to say, it's not irony. Whatever it is. A new
It's
layer.
meta. Very meta.
Never before seen on this show. So instead, because it was last minute, and this is a thing that has gone well recently, we are switching to this screen that is set up properly. Wow. And this particular twosome has not tackled this game yet. 20 questions. Dave ended up watching the last episode. If you watched the last time we did this, which was only a few weeks ago.
Dave, we're trying to do a faster show, but I want to know what you thought of Cody and my performance.
On 20 questions, I mean, you did everything that you should have. I noted a few of what my guesses were, and I was wrong each time, so you did better than I would have. So good job.
All right.
You pulled a couple out of your ass. That's for sure.
Isaiah Thomas was like, I didn't feel, it wasn't like, oh my God, an epiphany. It was like, I'll throw out a name.
We'll give it a shot. Yeah.
Somewhere in my brain,
it
it must have made sense, right? Or because... But yeah, anyways. And then Antonio Davis, I think. I didn't even know that guy. That was all Cody.
The best part is that the Pacers teams from back then absolutely would have been the, is it a Davis? Is his last name Davis? Yes. Okay, that narrows it down to 3, I think. So let's keep going.
Yep. But we had 2 improbable rallies, so that was among the most entertaining versions of that we've done. We've only done a few, but still, like that. Big time upsets. If you didn't go check it out, I mean, we've kind of spoiled part of it, but still, go check it out. The drama's worth it.
You're not really inspiring confidence when you're saying you were wrong on every guess, I will say.
Well, I mean, I didn't get to work through it the same way I would have because I watched it later and, so it's fine.
So for this one, your goal is 40. 40.
God.
So that means you basically have, 13-ish rounded per person. So it'd be nice to get the easy as quick as possible so that you have more left over for the other 2. That ended up being very important last time, where you had 20 guesses and didn't actually end up needing all of them, but damn close. You at least had them all available if you had needed them. And we don't have to do much else setting up. I mean, I guess if you're new, this is just they get to ask 20 yes or no questions to try and identify some NBA player, former, active.
Let's do it.
And now these 2 are going to see how well they play together because, here we go. You're going to start with whatever question you like.
So, do we want to go with the basic, just the active or inactive? Yeah?
Yep.
All right. Is it an active player?
All right. Let me get that up on this screen. Make it active. Is this player active? No.
Oh, no.
Okay, gosh, they're starting us hard.
All right, well...
Why are you starting us hard? I thought it was easy.
Yeah, but in a way, generally speaking... I mean, Chris can throw us whatever hardball, but if this is no, then that means it's like fucking Michael Jordan or something. Like it's gonna be somebody with a name, right?
Has he been called the GOAT? No, I'm kidding. Don't call him. Don't
Yeah.
that's not the question.
Okay.
Let's go with.
I forgot what the next one
gotta
is.
narrow down.
We do retirement, right? Like if they're
Yep.
and Cody and I figured something out about how to ask this question, and I have since forgot it.
It was something like retired by this date or something like that, I think, or retired in this decade. I think it was what it was.
And that's hard. That was like limiting though, because it,
Yeah.
it was
I
something.
think we had it retired by this date.
It was something about their turn of the century, right?
Yeah, you asked two different ones at different stages, but it was basically like, did they retire after X? Did they retire after the year 2000? Was one of the ones you asked.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid one.
Okay,
to guess.
let's do that.
Let's do that. The year 2000. Yeah. All right. Did they retire after the year 2000?
Did they retire after the year 2000? Yes.
Newer doesn't mean they're new. It could be. Patrick Ewing played into the 2000s. Michael Jordan played into the 2000s. So who knows?
Let's do. Did they retire? Or do you want to do drafted? Were they drafted by?
Yeah. 1995, 1990, 1990.
Were they drafted by 1995? I like.
That's a good one. Yeah. See how far. Yeah, that'll give us a good range.
Were they drafted by 1995? No.
Okay, so they were drafted after 95. So they retired after 2000. Okay, so they're newer. So that takes off some of those people there. Kobe was drafted in 96, just to keep that kind of range, as was Steve Nash.
Because I am your friend, I am not your opponent.
Sure.
You often go to conference pretty early.
Yeah,
yes, we do.
Yeah, I was debating conference, or do we keep trying to nail down this time frame?
I think retired by 2010 would give us a real range of where. Well, actually, 2015 will give us a real range of where they are.
All right,
I think
that's fine. One more time question, and then that should be enough.
Yes, I agree.
So the question formally is:
did they retire by 2015?
Did they retire by 2015? No.
So, okay, they're even newer.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right.
So they're inactive. But
so now let's go conference. Were they primarily in the Western Conference?
Were they primarily in the West? Yes.
Newer West, inactive, easier one.
So
do division? Because we know the division's here.
We know the divisions, right? And then I always just think, at what point do you ask, are they a team in California? I think it's probably more prudent to go division first.
Yeah.
Well,
if you ask California, that's 4 out of 15 teams.
But so is every division, right? No, division knocks out more.
Well, yeah, division. Well, because the Pacific Division has Phoenix in it. That's the only difference. The Southwest Division has the 3 Texas teams and then a couple others. I don't mind asking California because that at least just gets us down to 3.
I think it's dangerous because then if it's Phoenix, you know what I mean? So
yeah, you can do division.
Let's do division. Let's do, but let's start with California because I think with the Lakers being a heavy hitter, this is easy. So let's go. Were they primarily? What is
Pacific.
that? Pacific Division.
Pacific Division. Yeah.
So primarily Pacific Division.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No.
So it's not Kobe. Not Kobe.
Not yet.
Because he would have fit those words. Well, that opens up a lot of questions if you say not yet.
Well, let's go Southwest then. Primarily Southwest Division.
Could be Timmy D.
I have to remember what teams are in which, but I believe I know the answer to this.
That's Houston, Dallas, San Antonio.
Okay.
Memphis and New Orleans.
Primarily Southwest Division. Yes.
Okay, did I hate this player's guts in the mid 2000s? Because that might be what I'm leaning on is towards the Spurs here. So we just want to ask if they played for the Spurs because I have a feeling it's a Spurs player.
No, I think we should go.
I have a feeling it's Tim Duncan. That's
well, so Southwest is the 3 Texas teams and then 2 other teams?
Yeah, Memphis and New Orleans.
So then splitting it pretty well if we ask, are they a Texas team?
Yes.
Whereas
Yes,
if you say San Antonio and it's no, then it's like, well, we only eliminated one.
Yeah, you either knock out 3 or you knock out 2. So yeah.
Are they a Texas team, Chris?
Yeah,
primarily a Texas team. Yes.
Tim Duncan. I swear it's Tim Duncan. It's an easy one. He fits all the criteria. Because he retired after 2015, I believe. Yeah. He was like 2016, I think he retired.
Let's take a quick break from narrowing down the team to say front court or back court.
Yes. Good call. You have a thought.
That's an excellent question. Doesn't really matter how you phrase this one, so I will just do primarily a backcourt player.
Front court. Damn it.
Coppert. Yes.
Okay.
Damn it. It's not Tim Duncan.
Nope. See, you're doing the FBI profiling thing.
I just wanted it to be Tim Duncan. Like, it was an easy one.
You're Jodie Foster,
right
and
there.
I'm not in that movie because I'm not trying to not do that. Okay. So then let's
backcourt player on a Texas team. Okay, so this could be. Let's see. It can't be Jason Kidd because he retired by 2015 and was drafted in 94.
Also, you would not say primarily Dallas.
That's fair. That's
primarily Dallas. No way.
Yeah, you're right.
God, he's almost primarily New Jersey now, not even Phoenix.
Well, he only played for Phoenix for a couple of years, like 3 years. It wasn't long.
Backcourt 2000, baby.
Yeah.
Penny Hardaway. Well, let's see.
I mean, because it could be like fucking Tony Parker, yeah, or even Manu Ginobili.
Yeah. Both fit that. Why don't we ask Spurs?
Why don't we? Now we start getting into with only 3 teams. Is this player Spurs primarily?
Is this player primarily a Spur? Yes.
Okay.
So backcourt.
It's Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. It's one of those two. And Tony Parker was drafted in 2001 and retired in like 2021 or something like that. It was pretty recent.
And it's easy.
With the Hornets,
not that Manu Ginobili would be hard, but like Tony Parker's easier, right? So I'm fine. If it's not Tony Parker, then some Manu Ginobili. And if it's not, then we went unfortunate that we wasted 2 guesses.
Yes.
But yeah, is it Tony Parker?
Is it Tony Parker? No.
Damn it. All right, is it Manu Ginobili?
Is it Manu Ginobili? Yes.
Damn it.
All right.
Got the wrong one.
So, 12.
Not much we could have done there.
That's more than hero, but I think, and this was a good test and why I wanted to put a non-active player first, I think it's just harder to get retired players. There's more of them than there are current ones.
Yep.
So it takes more to narrow it down.
And yeah, we could have saved, I guess, a question maybe 2 questions if it would have gone with Spur right away, but instead of the Texas team, but maybe. I don't know. Because I would have if I would have guessed Spur right away, we wouldn't have asked the Texas team.
Sure, we could have saved.
And I would have asked, okay, is it Tim Duncan?
We could have saved 13 questions if we had started with, is it Manu Ginobili too? So,
well, you know what?
I don't like
Why
your
didn't
tone.
you know right away, Sean? Jesus.
All right, so 12 deep, a little below the average. We head to medium.
That was a harder, easy one though, Dave. So don't feel bad.
Yeah, because it was inactive. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, really. It's you got to have those extra questions of years.
Yeah. And at one point, I had put 3 inactive players into this, and I said, no, that's not going to work. That means one of these next 2 players is active.
If it's active, Dave, that's going to help us. We can make up for it right here.
The last one's active. The last one's going to be active, and it's going to be like Sam Hauser or something. I don't know how I'm going to get there. Because I think he plays for the Celtics. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, well, we got to start with our active or inactive. It's really the only. I guess we don't have to start there. We can start front court or back court because that's something we're always going to ask.
Chris, it was funny. I was waiting for you to be like, okay, well, let us know. Is it active or not? I forgot it's a question we have to ask. So let's start with that.
Okay. Is
active or inactive?
Is this player active?
Active.
Yes.
Great. Is it Damian Lillard? Just kidding. He's dead.
Is it?
Well, he's not active anymore. His Achilles fell off.
It's very inactive.
So let's go primarily Western Conference.
Primarily Western Conference. No.
No. Okay, so it's not Damian Lillard because he would be still primarily Western. Well, I guess you could say currently. Because that maybe we asked that wrong. It
I
probably should have been
did.
currently
I'm
instead of
sorry. I got
primarily.
too fast. It's up to the judge if we can take that
Damn.
back. But no.
Both pieces of
stick with these
information
for
can
now.
be useful. Just current is one thing you can
Yeah.
do with current players that you can't with the retired ones.
Well, why don't we ask currently in Atlantic Division?
Good call.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Currently in Atlantic question mark.
Yeah.
Remind me the teams, please.
That would be Boston, New York, New Jersey, or Boston, New York, Brooklyn, Toronto, and Philly.
Yes.
It's Paul George. No, I'm kidding. Because he was primarily Western. He was actually primarily Western, so it wouldn't be Paul George.
I actually would have to look. I would assume. I'm going to go ahead and spoil. It's not Paul George. I think he was with the Pacers the longest.
Yeah, but then Oklahoma. Well,
that's true.
But it depends.
Thunder plus Clippers, but now he's back in the East with another season.
Yeah.
So I would have to look. I would bet it's close.
Yeah. All right.
It's not Paul George.
It's not Paul George,
free
though.
question.
Sweet. We didn't have to.
Hey!
We tricked you like we did the genie. Do
I
you
would
feel
have been
sheepish?
surprised if a medium question was Paul George. To be
Yeah.
honest, but
Research team
All right,
is
so we
looking
got
Paul
narrowed
George
down.
8 years in the East because of the 1 year in Philly, 7 years in the West.
wow, cool. I'm
Yeah,
glad we
so-
were kind of on that one.
Yeah, we kind of knew.
Backcourt, front court.
Is this player
Yeah, so it's
primarily front court? Because I think the green for the
Damn it.
yes is better than the red for the no.
Got it. Okay, got it. Primarily front court. So there's a front court player in the Atlantic Division currently on a medium. Oh my God, it's Sam Hauser. Because that fits the bill. Let's see. Do we want to narrow down the teams at this point?
Yeah. So
'Cause-
so how many teams? There's 5 teams.
Yep, one's in Canada, one's in Pennsylvania, one's in Massachusetts, 2 are in New York. So
You know what I
we could
realized?
ask everything currently in New York.
Later, I thought of this question, and it's not as fun or exciting. But Cody and I were trying to be like, what's a mascot that has crossover? Just fucking ask, were they on Philly, Boston, or Toronto? And then you know what I mean? Like it's the easy way to do that.
Yeah, but let's just say where they currently play in New York, because one of the New York teams, that we can narrow that.
That's
currently
same
play in
idea,
New York
yeah.
City.
Lock that in.
New York City. Let's say, yeah. Okay.
Doesn't
yes,
matter.
yeah,
Yes, don't complicate it.
Okay. So they're Brooklyn or New York.
Okay.
I was like, if you're going to ask me New York City, just ask me about the Knicks then, please.
So
No, well, I mean, I consider Brooklyn as part of the greater New York
I
City.
see. See, that's where it gets tricky. So we'll avoid those.
Yes. Okay.
That answer is to the state of New York.
Okay, state of New York. That's fine, because there's only 2 teams in New York anyway.
Correct.
so front court
All right.
on New York.
Currently active for front court.
So we know
All right,
it's not. I don't think it would be this anyways. I gotta sneeze so bad. It is not coming out.
I got it. I'll vamp. It's got to be a front court player, so it's got to be a starter, right? A medium player
Well,
wouldn't be a non-starter. I
Yeah,
don't think.
I was gonna say it's
So
no.
you got to think it's.
What's his face?
You got to think it's Cat.
Cat.
It's either
It's not-
Cat, Mikal
Well, it
Bridges.
can't be Cat, right?
What?
Because it's
Well,
not,
yeah, you're right.
Oh,
Primarily.
primarily
You're right.
Western. No. Yeah, so it could be Cat. It could be Cat,
Well, no, because Cat was primarily Western. He played in the
Well, I
West
know,
more than he's
but
played in the
primarily
East.
Western
Yeah,
was no.
Yeah, so Minnesota's in the West. So he played more years in the West. So he is primarily a Western player. As
Chris,
is,
I'm not crazy, right?
Wait.
Am I getting backwards?
Yeah, you're backwards.
you are
I'm
getting
backwards.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
then that's fine.
So,
I'm getting
but
mixed
it could,
up.
it could be Mikal, because Mikal only played, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, got traded in 23. That's 5 years. So no, it can't be Mikal either, because he would be primarily Western at that point.
Wait, I'm still hung up on this
Oh.
primarily. If it was Cat and we said primarily Western,
The answer would be yes,
the answer would be yes.
because he played.
But because the answer is no,
It's not Cat.
could be Cat.
No,
No.
Cat primarily
It
played in
cannot
the
be
Western
Cat.
Conference. He played 6-ish seasons there, and has only played
He's played one.
Right.
the one in the East. 7 seasons? I guess it's like 8 seasons in the West, because he was the same class as Booker. Which is wild to think that Cat's been in the
Yeah.
league 10 years.
I'm just totally backwards then, because if you ask me, was Cat was primarily in the West, And if
Yes, and the answer is no to that question.
oh, I'm so
There's no to that question.
I'm like
Jesus.
thinking 3 back and forth things. I'm on the like triple negative. Okay, I got it.
All right. So we got to think of a front court player that plays in New York, the state of New York. So that's Brooklyn right now. Who's their front court in Brooklyn? Jesus, I don't even know anymore.
Oh,
It could be Mitchell Robinson.
it could be.
Could be.
It could be that the guy that the Suns always want. Everybody just talks about him. He's pretty good. He's good at defense. I want to say it's Nick something.
Nick Claxton.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, why don't we find out if it's a net or Nick?
Yeah, that's what we should.
Then we can at least go. All right. Is this currently a player on the Nets?
Is this player a net? No.
Okay, so he's Nick. So it's front court player that's not Cat, that's not McHale, that's not. Is this got to be Mitchell Robinson? It's got to be Mitchell Robinson. The only one that makes sense, right? Because it can't be Cat and it can't be McHale. If it's front court player on the Knicks, it's the only one that makes sense to me.
Mitchell Robinson. I don't know if I know anyone else.
I'm a little. I mean, it could be Josh Hart, I guess. I don't know if you call him a front court player. I mean, he gets a lot of rebounds.
Yeah,
He
Chris,
just gets a lot of rebounds. No, we don't need to go. No, let's just ask the Mitchell Robinson. We'll figure it out from there.
Okay.
I think. All right. Is it Mitchell Robinson?
Is this Mitchell Robinson? No.
Damn it. All right.
So, Chris, are we allowed to? Yeah, we are. We're allowed to ask, like, is Josh Hart, by these metrics, considered front court or back court?
It would be a question.
No, I don't think so, because we say, like, well, let's clarify what teams play in the Atlantic Division or whatever.
I think it's reasonable. Josh Hart, if you were asking me that question, the answer would be a shrug, because his primary position is listed as a 2 in 6 seasons and a 3 in 6 seasons. There's some mid-season trades in there, which is why it doesn't add up quite right. But
so
I think the fact he asked it so quickly means it's not Josh Hart.
It's probably not Josh Hart. So you get free information out of it, but it's a fun game, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say, I think Chris, he didn't think about it earlier to this extent. So, like, I think, it's probably.
Yeah. And games played, I would probably have gone to tie break that. I would say he's probably played more small forward barely, but yeah, it's not Josh Hart.
That's where I was thinking.
So New
Who
York
else is in the freaking front court, New York. Why am I blanking on this? Isaiah Hartenstein isn't there anymore.
Nope.
He was on the Knicks.
I haven't watched much Knicks this year, so
that's the problem. I'm outside of the starters. I mean, the starters are Hart, Brunson, Bridges. I thought Robinson and Cat. But there's probably someone else I'm forgetting. Clearly, there's someone else I'm forgetting because I don't know this person. And it can't be Cat and it can't be McHale. Oh, boy.
I don't even be able to pull this one. I just don't know enough about current New York. I just don't give a shit.
They're up 1-0.
I know.
They are. I watched the end of that game, too. That's the worst part. Oh, OG Anunoby. That's who I think it is. He's on the Knicks.
Front court?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. OG Anunoby is on there. Siakam's not there.
Siakam's not there. Siakam's never there.
Huh? No, I was just thinking because Anunoby was on the Raptors earlier, and so was Siakam, and that's why I put them together.
We might as well go Anunoby because, like, I don't. Again, can you name me another New York player? Period.
I'm going down. I'm like literally trying to like picture the game I watched the other day in my head of when Brunson hit that step back.
Is there like a weird random like white guy that's sometimes on, like maybe not in New York? I don't know.
Well, why don't we ask if it's Anunoby? Because Anunoby, how the hell do you pronounce his name? Has OG in it. I'm kidding. I think we just have to go with it at this point. Right.
Let's do it.
Anunoby, yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
Is it OG Anunoby? Yes.
Yay! Good pull. See, we made up for that, Dave. Ooh. We got ahead of the curve on that one.
Yeah, we did. We recovered a little bit.
So we kind of knew this just from the way the first couple times have gone, but active players are just easier than retired ones, and we can see that here. Is OG Anunoby an easier pull than Manu Ginobili? No. But just given the number of questions it takes to get to a retired player for the sake of the game, it kind of is.
Yep.
All right. Well, that leaves you with, once again, the full 20 questions.
Hooray!
4 are hard
We did it.
because that's 12 and 8. So you have taken 20. You have 20 remaining. Fire when ready.
I don't want to waste a question here, Sean. I want to ask, did this player retire by 2010?
Oh.
And maybe we might be able to knock 2 out at once. See what I'm saying?
That's a great idea. Why have we not been doing that?
Yeah. Well, because if the answer is no, they didn't retire by 2010. They could be a current player, or they could have retired in 2011. So you leave but because this is hard, unlikely that it's going to be active. That's why I want to go that way with this.
Okay.
One. So
yeah.
Do you want to do 20? Is it 2010 too old, or do you want to go newer than that? Is the question.
2010, yeah. Are they retired by 2010? And if the answer is no, that's still almost like good news because that narrows it down a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay.
I almost wonder, is it too late?
2010?
Should we say 2000?
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's retired, so they could have played through the 90s and retired. You know, I mean,
yeah. Let's do 2010. Will kind of give us a good. Were we kids? Or do we watch them as adults? Basically,
all right.
I think it's kind of good. All right. Yeah. Did they retire by 2010?
Did they retire by 2010? Yes.
Okay. So they're not inactive, and they retired before 2010. So I'm gonna let's just throw out the random guesses because it's not an official question, but I wanted to look smart if I get it right. Bo Outlaw is my unofficial guess.
Okay.
It's a hard one.
I'm gonna go with retire by 2010. I don't know. So I blew the game.
Cool. Good. I'll guess Brian Grant for you. How's that?
All right. Okay.
Old mid 2000 Suns players.
I'm gonna go Byron Scott because he just got in trouble for bad stuff.
Yeah.
So now we can try to narrow down when they did play, because now do you want to narrow it down to 1990? Did they retire by 1990 or something like that? And then we have a 20-year gap of when we know they played.
Should we try to say drafted? Were they drafted by a certain time?
Well, hard part with that is that, I mean, hell, with the longevity of some people, they could be drafted in 89 and, played until 2008 or something like that. And you just don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Do you
I think if we say if they're
retired by when then?
Yeah. 95.
All right.
Well, that gives a 15-year range. Yeah. Did they retire by 95?
Did they retire by 1995? No.
Okay. So now we've got a 15-year range that we've narrowed it down to of when they were playing somewhat in. So they could have played and retired in 96, but.
So it could be Michael Jordan.
It could be Michael Jordan.
Let me ask, is this is the time when did the divisions really switch over?
2005 or 6, I think.
Damn. So we could run into this problem.
Some of them switched earlier than that.
Yeah.
I want to say late 90s because that came up in the Antonio Davis. He was on, I think, the Raptors, and the Raptors were for 2 years in the Atlantic and then switched to the Central or something like that. So I want to say late 90s they switched.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just do primarily East or West? Because then we forget. So why don't we do primarily East? Yeah, primarily Eastern Conference is the question.
They primarily play in the Eastern Conference. Yes.
Okay. Let's go with Atlantic. So there's 2 divisions that didn't change, or at least the names didn't change. It was the Atlantic and the other one, and then they added a new one, right?
Well, right now there's Atlantic, Southeast, and Central.
Right, there's a third one, but what were the 2?
Well, Atlantic and Central, I think, were the 2 because the Southeast didn't really exist until later on.
Yeah,
I think the Atlantic was a bigger one, encompassed everybody that was on there.
So why don't we go? I mean, God, what are the odds it's another Atlantic? So do you want to say Central?
Yes, use Central.
Okay.
Well, hold on a second on that, because this worries me because, again, what if it's, somebody along the lines of Shaquille O'Neal? Not that it's Shaquille O'Neal. He retired after 2010, I believe. So it can't be him. But okay, played for the Magic a lot. I guess he'd be even more. But you know what I mean? Like if someone that played on the Magic for a long time, like do we know that's Atlantic for sure? I don't.
No, well,
So
oh,
that's the problem.
well,
See what I mean?
yeah. Okay.
That's where I
I
run
see
into.
what you're saying.
Let's just narrow down front court or back court at this
Yeah,
point.
why don't we do that?
Then we can go. Yeah. Let's say is this a backcourt player?
The league realigned in 2004 into its 3 divisions. There were several times in the 90s where teams moved around because of expansion and stuff. Just FYI.
Okay.
4 was when okay.
So
Official.
2004, we go the 3 divisions we now know and recognize today that have not changed because we have not had expansion in that 20-year span. Sorry, primarily backcourt, frontcourt?
Let's say backcourt.
I said frontcourt because it's whatever one I'm going to do, yes. Sure. So primarily frontcourt, yes.
Okay, front court Eastern Conference player retired by 2010. Okay, it's hard.
What's the geographically, not to ruin Chris's life here, but like geographically to narrow it down, like north or south of?
Well, that was my Mason Dixon line question, and I picked a pacer, which is like fuck, that's right on the goddamn line. Okay. So
well, it's probably not a pacer again. So why don't we do that again?
Just to piss Chris off, like, wait a minute, where's the damn line?
I think he understands, even if he doesn't necessarily love it, but.
So?
Well.
Was it, let's say, south? Let's say south. Is it primarily south of Mason-Dixon?
Is it primarily, has he primarily played his career south of the Mason-Dixon line?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so we're a more northern team. So we've got our Torontos, we got Indiana,
Chicago. That's
Boston,
kind of
Chicago. Yeah,
north?
Chicago for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
It was like kind of in the middle. I don't know.
Chicago is nowhere near the Mason-Dixon line.
I don't know what this fucking line is.
This is basically like Kentucky, Ohio, Kentucky border.
Oh,
like
then
that.
yeah, okay, then yeah.
Mason-Dixon line is essentially where the states that seceded and the states that didn't secede, or that's that line.
Yeah,
basically
with
it.
No other commentary on that.
Great.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right. Okay, so north. So we're let's narrow. Do you have like a list or like a? Actually, I'm gonna grab a marker.
Yeah, there you go. Write this down. So I mean, it's got to be New York, New Jersey, Boston, Philly. One of those.
New York, New Jersey, Boston,
Brooklyn, Boston,
Philly,
Toronto,
Chicago.
Philly. Yep. Cleveland.
All right.
What else we got in there? It's one of those. How many teams have we got there written down?
That's 6.
They've also said 6. Toronto at one point.
Yeah, I was about to ask about Toronto and like, when did Toronto join the league?
94, 95, 96 maybe? Yeah, 96 I think it was.
Okay. So it could be.
Yeah. So yeah. Just a reminder that Michael Jordan played in a league where 5 teams were like expansion teams basically. So just throwing that argument out there. Anyway,
I don't see why.
Shots fired.
Okay.
Let's see. So we've got an Eastern Conference player in the North that retired by 2010.
Well, what about Detroit?
Yeah, Detroit. Yep, that definitely would fit. Detroit would definitely fit.
So we have 8 teams we're talking about.
Okay. Did this player play on a finals team with his team? That's what we can ask that, right? This player play in the finals with his primary team. That could be a question because then we know. I mean, I can tell you pretty much all the Eastern Conference finals participants from 95 on. So we can narrow that down a little bit.
But did they retire by? I mean, they could have been. Okay.
Yeah. So if we asked if they played his primary Eastern Conference, if they played for the finals with his primary Eastern Conference team, we've got Detroit, we've got Cleveland, we've got Miami.
I think I'm pretty good
Miami,
from 89. Oh, but participants. I know the winners. I'm decent.
I got the participants. I can tell you the participants.
Well, why don't we? So, but let me ask this: if we say the finals, how many teams does that include? Yeah,
let's see. From from 95 on. I mean,
From
there's the
90
Bulls.
on, let's say.
Well, no, well, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, there's the Bulls, there's the Magic, there's the Knicks, Bulls again, Knicks again,
Indiana or
Jersey,
no?
Indiana, Philly. I mean, yeah, I guess it doesn't really narrow down a lot
Yeah.
of them because there's Miami. You're right. Most of those teams, Boston is one of them for sure. Cleveland's one of them. So that pretty much gets all of the teams.
But I will only say this: it would narrow it down to certain windows of those teams. It's not. It might not help you narrow down the specific team, but it's not
That's a
like
good point.
it's not going to be the 1990 Nets. It's not going to be the.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
it might.
true.
It's up to you to weigh if it's worth it or not. But it does narrow it down in a different way.
I mean, we could also just
Chris
say
is
like,
fucking with this
Dave, we
fucking
could
no
do. Is
question
it
anyway.
Boston, Philly, Chicago, or Detroit?
No, that's cheating.
What?
I think.
Why is it cheating? I don't think that's
Spirit of the
cheating. Is
rule.
that? I think that's smart economy of questions. Unless Chris is like, I need something more than that.
Well, okay, you can attempt to answer it and see if Chris bitch slaps you for it.
Okay. Is it Boston, Philly, Chicago, or Detroit?
Is it Boston, Philly, Chicago, or Detroit? No.
Okay.
I'm
Boston,
assuming
Philly,
primarily.
Detroit. Yes.
Yeah.
Understood.
Okay. That's fair. Okay, so that means it's either Cleveland, Toronto, Indiana. What else we
Well,
got
I thought
there?
it wasn't Indiana. We didn't ask about them.
Oh, could be.
Are they north of the
It could be
line?
Indiana. Yes.
God
yes,
damn
absolutely.
it. All right. Let's go.
Okay.
Why don't we say is it Cleveland, Toronto, Indiana?
Well, wait. Who are you missing off that list then?
New York and New Jersey.
Okay, fair. Okay.
So is it what?
Cleveland, Indiana, Toronto.
Is it Cleveland, Indiana, or Toronto primarily? No.
Jesus. Okay.
Primarily the state of New York. Then we can at least confirm that, or see if we completely fucked up.
Yeah. I either way you ask it. Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
So just say
Primarily New York
yeah.
State.
Did he primarily play in the state of New York? Yes.
Okay.
Damn.
Interesting. So we got another front court player from New York. We've already done this, but he retired by 2010. Can't be somebody like Patrick Ewing. That's too easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Got a bunch of Knicks. Okay. Knicks that played in the 2000s, but
It doesn't have to be. Do you want to make sure it's?
I mean, yeah, he could have played in the 90s.
No. I'm saying we have two teams. Do you want to?
You're right.
So, Chris, is it primarily the Knicks?
Was he primarily a Nick? Yes, it is not Derek Coleman.
Okay.
I fucking told you.
So, Dave,
Um,
my help has basically just ended. I hope I got you there, and you can take it from
we
here.
can narrow stuff. We can narrow stuff down a little bit more
Okay.
in the sense where we can maybe look at get more of a range of when they played. Well, I mean,
again, what would help you like narrow things
well,
down?
so here's the deal. Here's what I'm thinking. That asking that finals question again means that they're on the 99 team, basically. Like if I ask that finals question, that is a high risk, high reward answer. Because the answer is yes, then it's that 99 team, and I'm pretty sure it's Latrell Sprewell. But that's also if it's a no, it doesn't help us at all. So, and I don't know when some of those people retired by, so I can't say did they retire by 2005. That's not going to help me that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a Nick. You know, the drafted by probably is what's going to help at this point. So if I know when they were drafted,
Go for it.
because we know they retired after 95 between 2010, but we don't know when they got drafted.
I think we're
so maybe
so we have the team,
Yeah.
right? And that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
We're at the stage of the
Yeah.
game. We have 11 questions left.
Mhm.
We have plenty of time to knock
really gotta
out
narrow it.
basically anyone that you can possibly think of. If you can't think of them, we weren't going to get it anyway. So
Yeah.
might as well
Let's
do
say
the
were
finals
they
question
drafted.
or drafted, whatever.
Well, yeah, let's do the drafted first. So were they drafted by 95, because that means they had a shorter career.
Were they drafted by 1995?
Yes, that is the question.
Yes.
Okay, so they were drafted prior to 1995. Okay, so they were a little bit newer. A little older, I mean. How long was Sprewell in New York? God, if it's Latrell Sprewell, I'm going to feel really smart.
Would he be? I guess he could be hard. Yeah,
Well, the problem is he then also played in Minnesota, like immediately afterward, because he played for Golden State, choked out his coach, went to New York, made the finals, and then went to Minnesota, and then said he couldn't feed his family on $50 million.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was a thing, but he didn't play for New York very long, so it can't be. I don't think it's him because he didn't play for New York long enough to be a primarily Nick.
Well, maybe.
Let's see. So we got.
It depends, right?
I don't think so.
If he played for New York, how long do you think?
I mean, he was on Minnesota in 2004 on that team that made the Western Conference Finals, and he played in the finals for New York in '99.
But like my point is, if he played for New York for 3 years, but Minnesota for 2 years, and this other place for 2 years, he's still primarily a Nick, even though he jumped around a lot.
Yeah, but it's leading me away from it because I really don't think he was in New York very long.
Okay.
The lockout didn't help that. But who else was front court players?
Right, like who else can you even think of?
Well, and retired that late is the crazy thing too. Let's see. It could be somebody like Larry Johnson, perhaps.
Well, why are you saying late?
Well, because it retired by 2010, so...
Yeah, where they retired by 2010, they could have retired in... Well, they drafted in 95, so 96 is probably not...
Yeah, that's a good thought, actually. Maybe we need to narrow down if they retired by 2000. See, then we can narrow that down even more, right?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Yeah, do they retire by 2000?
They retired by the year 2000. No.
Okay, so they did play in the 2000s. For some reason, I'm thinking it's Grandma Mom.
9 questions left.
Actually, that was probably a waste of a question. I suppose... Were they?
It knocks out the 5-year gap.
Yeah,
because they were drafted before 95 and could, if they retired, in between 95 and 2010, that is a longer career versus a shorter career.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, were they drafted by 95? Yes, they could have been drafted fucking 1970, and then what a career.
Yeah, but Jesus, that would have been a long one. Okay, so they played in the 2000s, drafted by 95. So they definitely played in the 2000s. Got a name, but
who was that? Like, think of the Suns, the shitty Suns team playing New York. Who would they have been going up against?
In the 2000s? Well, that would have been a good Suns team.
No, well, not necessarily. Depends when in the 2000s.
True.
2004 earlier, it would have been pretty bad.
This is the problem. I don't know jack shit about the 2000s. Where we need Cody, because I don't. The early 2000s, that range I'm so bad at. I mean, there was Eddie Curry. God, that would be a crazy pull if it was Eddie Curry. It is a front court player.
If you get to like 17, you can always maybe phone a friend, although Cody might be sleeping.
Yeah.
He was not feeling well. Maybe he's watching now. That'd be funny.
I mean, here's
comment
Dave.
DVR, Cody.
Here's the thing. So before we waste any more questions on like trying to narrow it down, how many Knicks front court players do you even know from this time period?
Retired by 2010. I mean, now, like Patrick Ewing, for example, would be one that fits this, but I think that's too easy for a hard.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he retired after 2000, primary play for the Knicks. I think that just doesn't fit where we're going on this because it's too easy.
Well, this is like that Wishbone episode where they hide the letter right in plain view.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, that was a book, not a Wishbone episode.
No, it was a Wishbone. It was written for Wishbone.
Original Wishbone tale.
I think Allen Houston was a backcourt player. I don't think he would have been front court. because he definitely retired after 2000. But I think he was more backcourt.
Because I guess my question, if
Better
you
win.
have only 3 or 4 players that you could even think of, there's a...
I mean, yeah, there's a few players I would think of, and I don't even think Larry Johnson fits this criteria because he primarily played for for Charlotte.
Well, here's one thing I'll ask. So we're talking about Larry Johnson, Patrick Ewing, Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston.
Eddie Curry was
Eddie Curry.
That's a pull and a half. Like that, Jesus, that's extra hard.
If we said finals, what does that do for that? Were they all on the finals team, or do you even know?
Allen Houston was. I think Ewing was. No, I don't know if Ewing was in that one actually. Yeah, I think Ewing was. Allen Houston, I'm pretty sure was in that.
So it doesn't really help. I mean, just at this point, we have 9 questions. We're not going to be able to think of 9 players, I don't think. So do you just want to go down the line from most likely to least likely? Like, I'm not trying to rush it. I'm just thinking like maybe we need all 9 because rather than trying to narrow it down in a way that may or may not even be helpful at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point because I've thrown out names that could be it, but I don't like. Okay, if I'm trying to narrow that down in my head, I cannot imagine it's Latrell Sprewell. I don't think he played primarily for the Knicks. Is the problem? He was on the Knicks, but didn't play for them that long.
I'll give you a suggestion, even though you're not really that close to losing yet. You could just ask about a specific Knick team.
Oh, was he on the Knicks in this year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he played. Yeah.
Now, if that's 1 year in a span, that may not be that helpful, but depending on what the answer is, it may narrow that down from certain candidates not making sense.
Yeah, I guess you could say, did he play for the Knicks at any time between 2000 and 2005?
How much will that help you?
That would be it.
Shouldn't you say like 99 in 2005?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Let me just see if he's on my team.
Yeah, why don't we do that? 99, 2005.
Okay.
Was he a Knick from 99 to 05?
At any time between
really quick, before we lock that in, Dave, if the answer is yes, who did we eliminate? And is the answer anyone? And if the answer is no, then why are we asking that?
Well, because then it eliminates all those people that I was just talking about.
Oh,
Yes.
Was he a Knick from 99 to 2005? If it's... Oh, right. If it's... Well, that I guess... Yeah, sure. Okay.
If the answer is no, it eliminates all of them.
But if the answer is yes, it doesn't narrow it down at all.
But at least then we know that at least there's still a possibility versus if it's a no, then it knocks
just
all
one more.
out,
Here's what I'm getting at. If the answer is no, do you have anybody that you can pull?
I mean, I'll rack my brain. I pulled out OG Anunoby and that, out of my ass. So I'll rack my brain at that point.
Okay.
But it kind of just my focus.
Let's do it.
Was he a Knick anytime between 1999 and 2005?
Yes.
No.
Well, there you go, Dave. So good question then, after all.
Awesome. Oh boy. Oh boy.
You were kind of playing with fire a bit with the finals question because the Knicks made a different finals besides just 1999.
94. I know, 94. Which would have been a weird one to think about because that would have been basically a rookie on that team. Well, maybe not actually. Because well, I guess not, yeah. God, okay. See, I'm thinking it's more...
So it's not Latrell. It's not. I don't think it's right. It's not Sprewell. It's not Larry Johnson. It's not Patrick Ewing.
Hold on. When did Charles Oakley retire?
No idea.
It might be Oakley, to be honest, because he was on the Knicks for a long time after he was on the Bulls.
Go for it.
Was it Charles Oakley? Is it Charles Oakley?
Is it Charles Oakley? Yes.
Wow. Wowee, Dave. You carried that one from about question, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, maybe.
Charles Oakley on the Knicks in 1998, on the Raptors in 1999.
That was the thing that threw me off, is I thought he retired by 2000. I knew he was on that finals team, but I thought he retired like right out.
This is where I'm in
Wow, I
trouble
thought
in
he
this game.
retired in 99.
This is where I'm in trouble in this game. I didn't know Charles Oakley. I didn't know Antonio. Like, when it gets to the hard, I just don't know the players anymore.
But
So I'm happy
I
to
mean,
assist you guys.
Yeah. I mean, at that, God, I think of Charles Oakley as like an 80s player, basically, because he basically punches people in the face and that was his job. So having him not retired by 2000 kind of fucks with me.
Well, so that means it was a good hard question that we kind of lucked into
Yes.
just because we were able to narrow it down so well so early.
That's the
Yeah,
goal with those. If I'm
exactly.
going to pull 90s players, they have to be at least decently known. I
Yeah.
don't want to mention the couple other I consider for this because they may come back at a certain point, but it's not going to be, it's going to be starter quality known names. Antonio Davis, again, was multiple-time All-Star. Charles Oakley, known for off the court, maybe more so than on the court at this point, but also one of the dudes you least want to fuck with in the NBA history, that's for sure.
Yeah. True story. He was Jordan's. It's so weird that he was like Jordan's enforcer and then, had to fight against Jordan in the playoffs year after year. So it was weird, but
Wow.
Weird.
Good job, Dave.
Latrell Sprewell, by the way, primarily a Warrior. 6 years in
really,
Golden
I
State,
thought he was on the
5 years in New York, 2 years in Minnesota. So the way that question goes down would have been no to that for Sprewell because he was on the Knicks one less
Yeah.
year. But
Yep.
only 2 years in Minnesota. But
Awesome.
again, that was cut short because of his own contract demands. It
don't-
would have been another couple of years probably.
I'm gonna be really honest with you. Latrell Sprewell is pretty obvious, and I wouldn't even have thought of him. I would have thought of Ewing and Larry Johnson, and that would have been it.
Well,
So
I think what's nice about this is that you're all kind of coming in from different perspectives. You think of ways to shape the questions. So, like, Cody was the person who happened to be the best one to get Antonio Davis, and he was here last week, as it turned out. So,
Yep.
It may just be coming
All right.
down to helping one person get the spark they need, pull the name out of their ass.
yeah,
got there.
Well, congratulations.
And it wasn't
33 questions. Next time you'll have 35. I'm just kidding. Or am I?
why not? I mean,
Because the goal is just to keep moving the line, and if you
Yeah.
fail, it'll go backwards a bit. So it'll
Exactly.
soften. So it's just meant to be an ongoing kind of battle against the clock, I guess.
Well,
yet to fail. This is kind of nuts.
and we're making refinements too. Like, I really think until we're flagged for cheating when it goes to the front office for review, like just grouping the questions together like that is an efficient way to narrow it down.
I don't mind it just because it's tough to think of certain questions. I think there's some other types that you guys could be looking at. It's tougher for older players, but there's a lot more international players now, so that carves the pool a decent amount. We talked about All-Star just to get a sense of the quality of the player. There's some other ones you could be going to, but at the end of the day, knowing the team is the most important part. 'Cause
Yeah.
then you can at least start to lock in on certain players. When there's not a known team, it's too tough.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
We put it together last minute, but you guys pulled it off successfully. I think that's the lowest score yet.
I think so.
And I would say these are harder than the first set we ever did. The last couple I've made a little bit tougher just intentionally. But again, current players, feels like if you don't get the current player in at 10 and they're not like a guy languishing on the end of the bench, you probably fucked up.
Yeah.
Because current just makes it that much easier. But I got to keep mixing them in. They can't all be retired guys either. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us. We at least managed to piece that together last minute, but still had fun. Next week, ideally, we'll be talking about, again, all the video game stuff. A lot of big news happening in there, especially with Grand Theft Auto. So please stay tuned for that. Hopefully Cody won't be dead and he'll join us. In between episodes, you can find us at our website, grayareas.live or youtube.com/@grayareaslive. We'll see you next week.